グリザイアの
さて、バカが残っちゃった。どうしよ
う。はっきり言うなぁ。これでも一応傷つくんですけど。
正直に言うと、あなたは能力的に未知数です。私としては一番扱いづらい駒なの。それでもあなたがいるからこそうまく機能している部分もあれば、切り捨てるわけにはいかない。本当に面倒な子ね。
それは自分でもよくわかってる。でもこういう生き方しかできないのよ。
ちなみに今はどっちの人格？
どっちでもないよ。私は私。結局は自分の中の自分。宗教の敬虔な信徒が神様を心の支えに日々精進するように、私は弱い私を支えるためにもう一人の私がいると信じているだけ。
そこまで理解していて、よく人格が統合してしまわないわね。
ユージが言うには、私は人に嫌われることに臆病なただのヘタレで、弱虫だからこそ他者との共生関係を形成しなければ生きてはいけない。そのくせ他者に対する警戒心が強いから、他者からの愛情や施しを信用していないんだってさ。まあ当たってるよね。優しくされるのなんかまだ苦手だし。だから私は未だに人格が統合しないし、ユージがいなくちゃ寂しくて死んじゃいそうになる。
やっぱり一番面倒な駒はあなたね。
ごめん。でも何かに使ってくれると嬉しいかな。
心配しなくてもちゃんと出番は用意してあるわ。今はまだどうなるかわからないから何とも言えないけれど、もしかしたらあなたが一番過酷な仕事を引き受けることになるかもしれないわね。
何も考えずに言われたことだけやってればいいって感じの仕事なら楽でいいかな。
Sorry.
ええ、そしてそれを世間では過酷な仕事というのよ。
ま、そん時は頑張るよ。
いい子ね。
Yuji time. The bad song. The bad song. 50 minutes had passed since breakfast. The food here wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either. It was mostly just tasteless. Now that Yuji been reunited with the National Defense Sister that called itself his sister, he was aware that the civilian cameras and microphones in the ceiling of his cell were essentially Kazuki's eyes, ears, and mouth. Physically, distance were irrelevant to her now. No matter where her body might be, she was present anywhere her eyes could see. Temporal and spatial limitation no longer apply. She could be multiple things simultaneously if the situation called for it. At any given moment, Kazuki might be watching a street corner, exploring public facilities, or using a webcam peeking inside a private home. Eventually, could return around without bumping into her. Of course, the idea of an invisible army of Kazuki's lurking all over the place was somewhat unsettling. But she always been something of a god to Yuji, so the idea of her always watching over him almost seems like a natural development. When you lock out in the cell all day against your will, you tend to have a good deal of time on your hands, and siblings who haven't seen each other in years always have plenty of catching up to do. In particular, Kazuki was very interested in hearing about how her brother had gotten by following her abrupt disappearance. My life after you disappeared was, well, pretty much how I described it in those documents. Now that I think about it, I guess this explains why they ordered me to write such a detailed report. You were behind that, weren't you? You never changed, Kazuki. Back when we were kids, you used to interrogate me about my day the minute I got home from school.
それはあなたが私の預かり知らないところで、私の知らない女の子と人には言えないようなことをするからでしょ。
What are you even talking about?
堀内奏、大橋弘子、小田彩菜。私が確認しているだけで少なくとも3人は女の子の友達がいたわ。しかも堀内奏とは結婚式ごっこと称した時期でキスまで許したわよね。あの子とあの子の家族が今どこで何をしているか知りたい？
Thanks anyway, but I really don't think so. Look, forget about it. Why do you end up like this, Kazuki?
ユージはどこまで知っているの？
You were in an accident on the way back from your training camp and got stranded in the mountains. Only Amane survived in the end. Amane told me what happened from her perspective, but I don't know much apart from that.
そうね。それじゃあ、私が天音と別れてから先の話をしましょうか。
A flashback! Oh, finally! Behind the scene! It was the knife of our escape. After convincing Amane to run off by herself, I was easily pinned to the ground by Kanade-senpai who had pursued us through the woods. Stranded by my body as she pressed me into the dirt, Kanade focused her attention on my right hand, which held the knife I took from Amane. She pushed down my right arm with unbelievable amount of force, while Koide-senpai immobilized my fractured left arm.
なんで逃げるんだよ。話し合えばわかるって言ってんじゃん。
She had the eyes of a starving dog. The smile on her face was a twisted, hollow thing. The corners of her mouth were wet with forged splitted. From all appearance, Kanade-senpai was now governed entirely by impulse. She had a desire to catch me. I was running, so she instinctively given chase. Koido reached through. Papa was clearly terrified. When you grow to a custom of being ordered around, you lose the ability to take independent actions. Unless you stay in the night, cooperate with the good, there always a risk they'll turn on you next. That fear was probably what had made Koide-senpai act, more than anything else. One of my captures was incapable of coherent thought. The other was a coward who couldn't bring herself to ignore a crossing signal. They called me, but that didn't mean they were going to do anything, not just yet anyway. A few seconds passed, and while they had me at their mercy, they obviously weren't sure what to do with me. One of them was governed by instinct, the other was by fear. Under these circumstances, fear would be easier to manipulate. I turned my head towards Koide, who was holding my left arm.
痛いわ、小出さん。話してちょうだい。
Keeping my words utterly calm, I addressed her in a low, menacing tone.
聞こえないの？ならもう一度だけ言うわ。話しなさい、りっちゃん。
Once you learn to fear something or someone, that fear tends to stick with you. I could feel Koide-senpai grip weakening slightly.
ほら、話すなよ。そんなにムキにならなくても逃げやしないわよ。ほら、包丁も捨てるわ。手を離しなさい、りっちゃん。怒るわよ。
There was right and wrong held no meaning here. No one knew who to win, no one knew what to do. In this valley, the law of the jungle was in full effect. Brute strength was all that counted now. But even so, Koide-san was afraid of me. My fronts were fractured. I was lying face down in the dirt under the effortless, but even so, the idea of antagonizing me terrified her. An intelligent woman who can be far more frightening than a physical powerful one. Koide-senpai spent too much time being pushed around by other people. Her terror of me was irrational. I imagine it came to her reflexively.
りっちゃん。
Lightly speaking, Koide-senpai's name was enough to fuel her fear. A part of mine was screaming to apologize now while she still had a chance. The next words out of my mouth would be decisive.
あなた、私がいなくても生きていけるの？
Koide-senpai spent most of her young life standing submissively at the side of the stronger people. Over the years, she internalized certain rules. The way I was treated her set alarm spells inside her head. Her instincts were telling me not to defy me. Before she even knew it, Koide-senpai jerked her hand away from my left arm. I didn't let the chance pass by me. With all my strides for my partial fracture out, punching Kanade square on the nose.
こいつ！
As Kanade reached out to stop the blood now flowing from her nose, I tried to push her off me. But it was as if I had much strength left, and more importantly, I just hit her as hard as I could with my injured arm. It was so bad that I wanted to cry.
今ので完全に折れちゃったかも。風見！
Enraged by the pain I inflicted on her, Kanade-senpai bellowed my name furiously. Now that I angered her, she probably killed me without a second thought. If I would apologize, would she forgive me? It didn't seem particularly likely. I tried to lay a bit of a groundwork when worse came to worse, but honestly I feared that my life had simply run out. Just as I was beginning to resign myself to my fate, another of my pursuers arrived on the scene.
待ちなよ、金田。風見は殺しちゃダメだ。
Sakuma? Who is Sakuma? Oh! Sakuma-senpai emerged silently from the darkness behind Kaneda. None of us had noticed her approach.
殺す？私が風見を？なんで？別に殺しゃしないよ。
なら風見を捕まえてどうするつもりだい？
Taking a steady step forward on her undernourished legs, Sakuma placed her hand on Kaneda's shoulders and pulled. Kaneda slowly turned her head to look at her.
死ぬのを待つんだよ。
Her right eye was all but useless. Her left glistened like a pool of oil. Her face had contorted itself into a slightly deranged smile of a woman who given up entirely on life. Had she not fallen low enough to kill living people in order to eat them, or had she simply realized that most of my bodies would go to waste if she killed me now? Whatever the case, she clearly had come to her sense.
とにかく落ち着きなよ、金田。ねえ、風見。情けない話だけれど、私たちは君がいないと全員死んでしまうんだ。そのことを君は十分に分かっているし、そうなるように仕向けてきたんだと思うけど、こんな状況で空腹だの治療不足だのと言ってもどうにもならない。この状況で何より怖いのは無気力だ。死んだ方がマシだと思えるような状況の中にあって、それでも風見がいればまだなんとかなるかもしれないという小さな希望が持てる。たとえどんなに小さくても希望さえあれば、私たちはまだもう少しだけ生きていられるような気がするんだ。君が残ってくれると約束してくれるのなら、私たちも天音を追いかけることはしないって約束するよ。
あなたに約束していただくことにどんな意味が？
坂下には私が言って聞かせるよ。信じてほしい。
Oh yeah, Sakashita is the man who tried to kill Yuji and Amane last time. Remember? We were all past the point to talking things over like human beings. Do this girl really not understand the nature of our situation? Before I could respond to Sakuma's offer, Captain Sakashita came running to us now dressed in her school uniform.
風見さんを捕まえたのね。スオさんはどうしたの？
逃げられたよ。
何をしているの？早く追いかけて殺して！生かしておけば私たちは終わりなのよ。
Shaman is necessary to make aware of the smartest events had taken place here would be exposed. In other words, Sakashita's spotless life would be stained with an indeliberate disgrace. There was something that was certain she couldn't allow to happen.
坂下。
As it is gone on long enough, with those words on the tip of her tongue, Sakuma turned to look at the captain Sakashita and found that her gauntlet face was filled with something like vigor.
坂下。君、また。
Sakashita's body jerked at the question. Her eyes found Sakuma's face, pale and swollen in stark contrast to her own.
違うわ。これはだって私が倒れたら。
If Captain Sakashita were to be rendered immobile, there'd be no one to procure and distribute the food. It was a fact that she had essentially kept the crew alive for the last few days. Everyone here understood that, and so no one said anything more. But that very silent fear captured Sakashita's chest with agony and sent blood rushing to her head. Her own desperate search for excuse brought her nothing but unendurable shame. I'm not in the wrong. There is no other way. What gives her the right to judge me for doing what had to be done? Why is she making it sound like I'm some kind of selfish monster? As these thoughts ran through Sakashita's mind, the ball of stress that had built up deep inside her since the day the accident abruptly exploded.
あなたには言われたくない！
Sakuma had never done anything on her own. She always just gone with the flow. She ate the food that they found under the clear, suspicious circumstances. And now she was criticizing Sakashita for her actions. It was the last straw.
佐久間！
Sakuma Minori had always been this way. She was irresponsible and lazy, but always managed to say the right thing. She never did anything useful, but the younger girls all love her anyway. Why did everyone always fall for this useless girl nonsense? The resentful thoughts bubbling out inside Sakashita were intensified by her volatile emotional state. In a blind, unthinkable rage, she snatched the knife from my hand and stabbed it violently into Sakuma's stomach. Wait, what?
Oh.
At first, Sakuma didn't even understand what had happened. Something could have pushed its way deep inside her stomach. By the time she realized it was an eye, the grass at her feet was already glistening with dark red blood. Losing control of herself entirely, Koide-senpai began to shriek at top of her lungs. Ouch! Sakuma died. Still clutching at my broken arm, all I could do was look on a silent bed of cold sweat trickling down my back. At last we crossed the final line. We have crossed the final line. The violent urge we managed to suppress thus far could no longer be controlled. What else could you do but to laugh?
坂下、もういいんだよ。
Sakuma took a half step backward. The knife cattle started and slid clearly from her stomach, its blade drenched with blood.
もういいんだ。
Blood poured steadily from the gash she stuck on Senpai abdomen, and like as air escaped from her punctured belly, the strength drained from her body. I said I'm not going to survive this one. More than realization hit her, Sakuma fell heavily backward. Having offered Sakashita her forgiveness, a big triumph expression of relief spread across her face. And she collapsed to the ground.
小出さん、止血を。ボケっとしないで、急いで。
Jumping at the sound of my voice, quite severely to Sakuma's side, but the word was so large that she hesitated, not knowing what to do.
私の上からどいて、この状況がわからないの？
No, come on, stop it, Sakashita! With an angry shout at Kanade-senpai, I managed to shove her off me, then rushed over to where Sakuma had fallen.
佐久間先輩、お気を確かに。
The moment my broken arm for his leg, I slid the cloth off my shoulders and brought Sakuma-senpai's abdomen. But no matter how much pressure I applied, the blood would not stop flowing.
違う。私が悪いんじゃない。だって佐久間が私のせいじゃない。
Captain Sakashita was mumbling incoherently toward the bloody knife in her hand, but no one was paying attention at any heat. In the midst of this chaos, I heard someone approach through the forest.
クマ先輩。ねえ。クマ先輩。どこ行ったの？
Uh-oh. Are we going to die here? And where's the music? Where's the music? Stumbling her way noisily through the underbrush, Ibuki Haruna appeared before us. She looked around the area with a glassy eye, spotted Sakuma-senpai lying in the grass and slowly squatting down next to her.
ああ、いた。
Yes, this is my food. Let me eat you. Let me eat you.
急にいなくなったら心配するじゃないですか。こんなとこで寝てたら死んじゃいますよ。ねえ、クマ先輩ってば。
Ibuki Tan's voice was cheerful, even carefree. The rest of us were stunned into silence. I don't think I ever such an utter loss for words before.
っていうか、もう死んじゃってます？
The abdomen was bleeding profusely even as we spoke. Everyone could see at a glance that there was simply nothing to be done.
ねえ先輩、クマ先輩、これってどういうこと？意味わかんなくないですか？だってずっと一緒にいてくれるって約束してくれたじゃないですか。なのに、なんで勝手に死んじゃうんです？
全然意味わかんないし、先に死んじゃうとか、それってずるくないですか？ねえ、クマ先輩。ねえ、先輩いなくなっちゃったら、私、明日から誰に髪を切ってもらえばいいんですか？
Naturally, Sakuma senpai didn't respond. She no longer could.
だから言ったじゃないですか。仙人なんて最後はみんないいように利用されて死んじゃうんですよ。だから善人なんか嫌いなんですよ、私は。
Turning attention from Sakuma's wound, Hibuki now looked around the clearing and finally spotted Captain Sakashita standing frozen with a bloody knife in her hand. Oh, you killed her! Dewa, I, Ibuki, will kill you now, Sakashita. Oh shit! She's going to kill you! Hibuki drew a special vanished in the instant, her face contorted with rage. Screaming like a mad woman, she pulled a pair of scissors from her skirt pocket, charging at Captain Sakashita and stabbed her into her. What? Oh shit!
死ね死ねお前も死ね死んでクマ先輩に謝れ土下座して謝る
With a respirating gargle, Sakashita fell to the ground, blood trickled from her mouth.
許さない許さない許さない土下座しても許さない死んでも絶対に許さない
Ow! Ew! Oh wait, did the game crash? Did the game crash? Oh. Overcome by anger and greed, Ibuki pushed Sakashita into the dirt, stranded her and stabbed the scissors into her body again and again. Whenever Ibuki's bang grew longer enough to be bothersome, Sakuma had cut them for her. The scissors he used for that purpose were now covered in blood.
こんな世界へ全部なくなっちゃえばいいんだ
And as she screamed and she wept, Ibuki didn't stop plunging the bloody scissors into Sakashita's body. Every blow was an expression of her hatred for the cruel and vicious world in which we live. Oh shit! Sensei! It was at this moment that Mr. Ochi finally arrived at the clearing. At the sight of his horrifying spectacle, he stopped dead in his tracks.
やめろ。何をしているんだ。やめろ。やめるんだ。
Oh, what are you gonna do now, Mr. Ochi? Gonna kill Sakashita? Gonna kill Ibuki under Sakashita's face? That place that was already as hellish as this. What was the point of murdering each other? It didn't make any sense. Mr. Ochi moved on, furious, thinking only that he had to stop the brutal assault that was taking place. Looking quickly around the area, he grabbed the volleyball-sized rocket from the ground with both hands, lifting it and brought it down with all Ibuki's head. Oh shit! With a heavy touch, the rod came in Ibuki's skull. The impact knocked her head down between her skull. She slid all Sakashita and fell on the side, still clutching the scissors in her hand.
もうやめてこんなのどうしてなんでこんなことに
Uh-oh, Koide-san. Dotari also broke down. The disaster unfolded in what it felt like an instant before we could even try to prepare. Koide-senpai fell on her backside and lost control of her bladder, a fragile mind finally broken. All courage ran for the world, leaving only a shades of grey. 50 Shades of Grey. So love me like you do. Everything was right, but everything was twisted. No one could keep the madness from spreading. Ibuki's lifeless eye were fixed resentfully on Mr. Ochi. Even now that she was unconscious, they glittered in the moonlight as if burning with unspeakable hatred. Faced with the consequences of his impulsive emotional action, Mr. Ochi showed short stare, his face full of shock and horror.
俺はなんてことを。
Yes, you killed one of your students, and now you're gonna face consequences.
いいぞいいぞ、もっと殺し合え。こいつはいいや。
Another senpai grew the enraged laughter forced its way through our ears and echoing inside our minds. We were past the point of no return. As that fact finally sank in, Mr. Ochi's leg gave up beneath him.
だからこれだから女の喧嘩に巻き込まれるのは嫌なんだ。いつだってこんな結果になる。
With every word he spoke, Mr. Ochi's body tilted further to the side. Perhaps he was trying to stay upright as the world lurched around him. I can't take this anymore. What does any of it even matter? What's the point of living through all this suffering? Ochi's job was to serve as an example for his students, to offer them hope as they struggle through the anxiety of youth. Over the years, he began to hold on something like a pride in his occupation. But now that he crossed this final line, that thin standard of strength gave away and he was left with nothing. And yet, it didn't matter if everyone had given up. It didn't matter how desperate our situation had become. I was going to do everything I could no matter what. I spent years teaching my brother to do the same. After all, I might die in this place, but I wasn't going to die a hypocrite. Hurry to capture Sakashita's side, I desperately applied pressure to her wound.
大丈夫。傷はそんなに深くない。数は多いけど、まだ助かるわ。小出さん、手伝って。
With only the use of my right hand, I could afford to swallow the bleeding for all the Sakashita's countless wounds. I called for her, but Koide said if I fear I had given the weight of despair, she didn't even move.
ありがとう。もういいわ。
Sakashita's voice was raspy and faint. As if to refuse my treatment, she reached out and grasped my arm.
あなたの言う通りよ。風見さん、ここまで落ちてしまえば、私はもう戻れない。諦めてはダメよ。生きてさえいれば必ずなんとかなるから。
Sakashita responded to this rap in an attack and encouraged me by shaking her head slowly.
あとはあなたに全部お任せするわ。律をお願い。坂下さん。
Why had it come to this? None of this was anyone's fault. So how had everything gone so wrong? That unanswerable question echoed heavily in our hearts. Sakuma Inori died from shock and massive blood loss as the result of laceration to her abdomen. Haruna Ibuki suffered an open depressed skull fracture as the result of a blow to her head. 2 hours later, she died from cerebral contusion. Sakashita Chiaki had numerous puncture wounds all over her body. Fortunately, the weapon she stabbed with a pair of craft scissors, so the laceration was fairly sharp. It stretched up her wounds, but her blood or rust left her in critical conditions. Kaneda Saya received a broken nose as a result of a blow to her face. By pushing my little finger into her nose, I disposed it in the blood from within, then filled her nose straight with cutter to prevent further bleeding. As for Kazami Kazuki, in the course of punching Kaneda Sayaka in the face, I do manage to completely break my partially fractured left arm. After settling upon my side, facing in position zero motor split. But not the only uninjured member of our group were Koide Ritsu and our teacher Ochi Yoshihiko. Neither of them were in particularly good shape either, of course, but somewhat surprising, Koide proved to be more mentally stable of the two. I suppose her ability to adapt to an environment made her somewhat resilient in the face of adversity. About an hour after the incident, she stopped staring back into space and asked me if there was anything she could do to help. By the time we completed the emergency first aid and carried the wounded back to the tanks, the sun was already rising. On the verge of unconsciousness, Captain Sakashita told me the wreckage of the food she hidden away and left its management in my hands.
どうやらここに埋めてあるみたいね。
千秋さん、 ところに隠してたんだ。
やっぱりね。絶対に隠してると思ってたんだ。あの女、独り占めするつもりだったんだ。
Oh, they still survive. Even after the day Amane escaped.
それは違うと思うわよ。なんでさ、この場所、先生だって知らなかったんだよ。もし独り占めするつもりだったのなら、もうとっくに食べちゃってるわよ。
だったら、どうして？
これはきっと、いよいよ最後という時に配給するつもりだったのね。誰だって最後ぐらい、白いお米を食べてから死にたいでしょ？それで死んじゃったら意味ないじゃん！食べずに我慢できる時期なんかとっくの昔に終わってたんだし、さっさと出すべきだったんだよ。あなただったら出した？私なら埋めたりしないで、とっとと一人で食べちゃうね。でしょうね。つかさ、いつの間にかタメ口だよね、風見。先輩というだけで尊敬しろと言われても。なに？ほんと生意気なやつだな。
ありました。クーラーボックス出てきました。
よしどけ！あとは私がやる。ダメよ。食料は私が管理します。うっせんだよ！そうやって今度はあんたが独り占めするつもりだろ！
もうやめて！私そうやって争うなら、この食べ物は全部捨てます！
バカやめろ！
金田先輩。
Yes, Kanade-san, Kanade-senpai, please die.
金田さん？
After Blue got she down and grabbed her head, Kanade-senpai suddenly yanked her neck backward and began rubbing the back of her skull against the ground. This bizarre outcome certainly seems to be some kind of ploy to distract us from the food.
風見さん、どうしよう。
金田さん、聞こえる？どこがどんな風に痛いの？頭が痛い！内側から破裂する！助けてよ！
What?
頭？
It looks as if she was instinctively trying to lower the position of her head.
小出さん、金田さんの体を上から押さえて暴れさせないように。
Either she was trying to find a position that would lessen her agony somewhat, or her movement were involuntary. The result was something badly wrong with her head.
動かないで。
As Koide and Kaneda's convulsive body started reaching to her nostril and pull out the cut-eye stuff in them. As soon as I blocked her nose, a large amount of blood began to flow in.
小出さん、靴下を脱いで。吸水性の高い白い布がいるの。急いで。
I took the saw and pressed Kaneda's nose. Her nosebleed shows no sign of stopping. The strain that appeared on the saw was red at the center, but its outer edges were a light yellow.
一見鼻血だけど、血以外の体液も大量に混ざってる。
There were all sorts of illness that could cause those symptoms, but given that she's been in the past accident and abroad,
どうしよう。しかない先輩と同じ症状だよ。
Shikana-senpai, who is that?
とにかくテントに運びましょう。ここでは何もできないわ。
わかった。
On the day of the accident, Shikana-senpai had suffered a fracture on the base of her skull. While she was conscious immediately afterwards, she rolled herself into a ball, moaning by clutching at her head, just like Kaneda was doing now. She had died 10 minutes later. Shikana-senpai would bleed from both her ears and her nose had probably died as a result of a damage to her skull. At this day, Kaneda would suffer the same fate.
すみません、金田先輩。おそらくはバス転落時の頭部損傷の時点で何らかのトラブルを抱えていたんだとは思いますが、私が顔面を殴ってとどめを刺してしまったようです。
Yeah, serve you right for being a dick.
そっか。それも仕方ないよね。まあ、
そういうこともあるさ。
So, Kazuki-chan, please die.
で、私、いつ死ぬのかな。
わかりません。10分後に死んでしまう可能性もありますし、感染症さえ起こさなければ自然に治る可能性もあります。
どうせ死ぬなら早く死んで、さっさと楽になりたいな。
まだ諦めないでください。
ねえ、風見。私、死ぬ前に白いご飯が食べたいな。
そうおっしゃるだろうと思って、今小出さんにお米を炊いてもらっています。とは言っても、埋められていたクーラーボックスから出てきたお米は2合程度です。お腹いっぱいってわけにはいきませんが。
最後の食事としては上等かな。
まずは薄いお粥から体をなじませていきましょう。
せっかくだし、普通に炊いたご飯がいい。
もう何日もまともな食事をしていません。固形物を急にたくさん食べると消化不良を起こしますよ。
そういうもの？
消化能力が落ちているので、食べても胃が受け付けずに吐き戻してしまいます。戦時中には物資輸送を断たれて食料に貧困した島から撤退した兵隊が、軍医が止めるのも聞かずに隠れて食事を大食いして何人も死んだそうですよ。
そんな死に方は苦しいだろうな。
ですから少しずつ慣らしていきましょう。もうすぐお粥が炊き上がるはずです。
そういえば小出遅いね。あいつ一人で全部食っちゃってるんじゃないよね。
小出さんにも同じように消化不良の話はしましたし、それはないと思いますけど。そうですね。他の人たちも気になりますし、少し様子を見に行ってきます。
Actually, even in a situation like this, I want to believe that we still have some share of rationality left. Quite was an unusual cowardly woman. I assumed that telling her you will die if you eat would keep her from doing anything reckless. It was a naive assumption on my part. In front of the primitive cooking furniture we built out the piling of stores, I found Grisaia lying on the ground with her arms around her stomach. At her side there was a single male basket full of steamy rice that looked freshly cooked. Most likely the process of cleaning and cooking the precious food we discovered in that cooler had been too much for her to bear. As soon as Blanc white house is ready, she shoved half her little mouth, only to have her weakened digestive system rejecting. Shit!
だからあれほど警告したのに。
Why you eat?
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
There was blood in the vomit leaving her mouth.
テントまで運んであげたいけれど、腕を骨折していてそれもできないの。ごめんなさい。自分の足で立ち上がってテントまで行きなさい。
Where is Mr. Ochi?
ごめんなさい。許して。
What a stubborn girl you are. From the look of things, her stomach would be capable of accepting anything at all for some time. If we could hook her up in an IV drip, things might be different, but given her already weaker state, it looked like a potentially fatal problem. Picking out the basket with the rice Koide had prepared, I had it for the time when Captain Sakashita was lying. Our prophet's effort had badly been affected. Her blood pressure had recovered and she now regained consciousness. I placed the basket next to Sakashita's pillow and gave her a brief update on her body's condition. She listened quietly, offering only brief response.
そう。ということは、もう立って歩けるのはあなたと先生だけになってしまったわね。
私もいつまで持つかはわかりません。
I was still lucid for now, but breaking my left arm completely had left it to intermittent fevers. If my body lost the ability to generate those fevers, I might very well lose consciousness and never wake up again.
もう現状で頼りになるのは越智先生だけですが、
その先生は一人にしてくれと言ったきり、一度も姿を見かけていません。
きっと彼はお墓にいるわ。あの人は一人にしてはダメよ。彼はとても弱い人なの。
And that's why he made sex with Sakashita.
私に彼を止めろと。
心配ないわ。お墓にいると言っても、あなたが危惧しているような現場に遭遇するようなことはないから。
Somehow this flashback seems interesting to me. We're gonna end the episode here.
セーブするわ。
Yes, it's still here. Adios, Famosa.